My name is Kaleo Schneider and I work with Ho'olanapua. Well, in the state of Hawaii, sex trafficking is basically the sale, the exploitation of a child for sex, for pictures, for stripping, any of those types of activities would be seen as trafficking or sex trafficking underneath the definition of the new law. So Ho'olanapua has been, we're going into our third year right now, although the core team has been together for 5 years plus. We're in the process of building a 32-bed therapeutic care facility campus for underage victims, for girls in the state. We've been at this now for about 5 years, but we also do health, education, advocacy, and then the fourth part is the reintegration. That's the home. So we're still out mentoring, we're educating, doing prevention, we're supporting legislation. We're not lobbyists, but I do support legislation. So Ho'olanapua, we actually do a lot of prevention. So we'll do prevention at the level, just to give you an idea of everything we do. Prevention trainings on all levels, whether it be peer training for healthcare, for law enforcement, for judiciary. We also do training for parents, teachers, for students. Then we have a mentoring program where it's a training, a specified training that you go through, where you become a mentor to somebody, a girl, usually on wherever that girl is at. If she's on the street, you can mentor her on the street. If she's in foster care or in her home and hasn't quite left yet, or just needs that extra touchstone person to be there for them. So we started this mentoring program in order to start relationships with kids that are high risk or already out there on the street. Then we have a parenting program also that meets twice a month. And we do that because there's parents that have kids that are on the street, kids that have been sold, that need a support system. So basically we've provided a twice a month support system for parents. I wouldn't say there's a lot of opposition. I'd say there's a lot of people that aren't knowledgeable about the situation just yet. They don't quite understand how somebody could be a victim of sex trafficking. They look at it as prostitution, and the definitions, the old language that was being used wasn't appropriate. We needed to also take the victim out of the old law and provide them services and have them be seen as a victim. In the old law, they were the buyer, the seller, and the person being sold were all criminals. So in the new law, that's not true. There's a victim-centered approach. So yes, there was pushback because we were changing the definition of from prostitution to sex trafficking. So, and what happens there when you do that also is when you decriminalize the female or the person being sold, there's if there's not services in the state to provide them and no help for them, they kind of dangle. So that's kind of one of the issues that our state is facing right now, is what to do with the kids that are getting picked up on charges of prostitution but aren't being charged because they shouldn't. And then where are they going? What services? They end up back on the street, and usually back with the pimp, being sold. Just because somebody creates a law doesn't mean a law gets used. It takes a little while. And there's not a lot of, running an investigation for sex trafficking and finding minor victims is somewhat of a challenge. Most are, everything's done online, through an app on a computer. You're finding your escorts and your kids being sold online. So it's a little harder, you're not seeing them on the streets. So learning how to run a proper investigation takes time. And we're not quite there yet, we're learning. So that's a victim self-identify as being sold, having been sold, takes a little time. It's sensitive. Most victims don't see themselves as victims, and the younger they are, they kind of believe that they're wanting to be there. They're in charge of their life. This is what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, and nobody's forcing them to do anything. It's kind of a little bit of a challenge to get them to see that somebody has tricked them into what they're doing and using them in that way. So that's the biggest challenge. But once you're able to change somebody's mind and get them to see, getting them out is difficult because they're used to the life. They started young. Usually the average age is around 13, 14 years old. By the time they're 16 or 17 and they're conditioned to, living a chaotic, violent life like they are living, it's harder to get them out right away. They don't identify with the way the rest of us live in the world anymore. Usually they've been given a new name, new identity. Maybe they could be branded somewhere on their body. They totally believe in what they're doing and who they're doing it for. And they believe that that person they're doing it for loves them and cares about them. So that's why they're doing it. They trigger easily. You can have a conversation with somebody who's been trafficked, and in the middle of it, they're having a little personality episode, you could say. Well, right now, there are a few organizations, few state government agencies that are handling what they can. There is a couple nonprofits also doing what they can. I wouldn't call anything a residential service because there are no residential services. So it's just services over the age of 18. There's a certain amount of services you can get for being trafficked, whether you're a local person or somebody, an international, somebody from another foreign country. But in the state of Hawaii right now, direct services for sex trafficking really don't exist.